Hello. So I was going to call this talk How to Make Going to the Toilet an Act of Devotion, but I thought I might lose you. We're going to take a way more intimate look at plastic pollution and discover how we can all make a small but significant difference, one flush at a time. Now, plastic pollution has been headline news for a couple of years now. Sky is on it with their ocean rescue campaign. The Daily Mail got behind the microbead ban, that's the little plastic beads in cosmetics. And more recently, they've backed the call for a deposit return scheme on plastic bottles. And every bit of this coverage is needed. We're seeing colonies of majestic seabirds declining, remote islands with beaches covered in tons of plastic, and images of children swimming in rivers that are choking with carrier bags and bottles. And recent studies have shown that microplastic particles are even in the air we breathe and the food we eat. It's bad for wildlife, it's bad for the seas, and it's bad for us. Now, you might still see the problem as far away, as not happening to me. We hear that 60% of ocean plastics reaches our oceans from 5 countries in Asia, and think that because we're doing our recycling, that we're doing our bit. But that's not really the case. And what really fascinates me about what's happening here in the UK is that according to the Marine Conservation Society, who've been gathering beach clean data for over 10 years, is that 7% of all the plastic found on our beaches is coming directly from our homes. More specifically, our toilets. We are literally flushing the health of the oceans down the pan. Now, surveys have shown that around a third of us are flushing things down the toilet that we shouldn't be. Now, that's a lot of people that either don't know or don't care about the impact of our flushing behavior. And yes, I used to be one of them. I didn't know that flushing my tampon down the toilet would cause a problem. Or the little plastic wrapper, I thought that the sewage companies would deal with it, and that would be the end of that. So how did I go from seeing my toilet as a bin to seeing it as part of the water cycle, as a direct connection between me and the rivers and the seas? It wasn't pretty. I lived in a city. I didn't swim or sail or row or surf, and I'm not a scientist or a marine biologist, and actually I was a bit scared of the sea. But around 4 years ago, I came across the trailer for the film Albatross by the artist Chris Jordan, and if you haven't checked out his TED Talks, I recommend you do. They are amazing. And Chris has kindly given me permission to show that trailer to you today, or at least a clip from it, because that trailer changed my life. I didn't want to skip over the real reason that I'm here today, and the reason that I have dedicated the last 3 years, or 3.5 years of my life to stopping plastic pollution at source. Thanks. So we've just witnessed the chicks of the Laysan albatross on the Midway Islands in the middle of the Pacific, thousands of miles away from any major landmass. And a third of those chicks are dying in their nests with their bellies full of plastic that their parents have fed them because their Parents are swooping down into the sea and seeing these colourful bits of plastic and scooping them up and bringing them back and feeding them to those chicks. And when I see that clip, well, when I saw it for the first time and every time since, I feel a grief. I feel a sadness unlike anything else I've felt when seeing human-caused environmental damage. And I don't know what it is about the albatross that moved me so deeply. I don't know if it's the fact that it's so beautiful and cute and fluffy, or if it's the fact that I was seeing everyday items of plastic that I was using inside the bellies of those chicks. Bottle caps, my brand of toothbrush, ink cartridges, inside the belly of something so magnificent. It shook me to the core, and it woke me up to what I was doing, to what we were doing. And it may sound cliched, but that was the first time I heard a voice rise up inside me and say, "Not on my watch." So from that day, I decided to do something about it. But I actually had no idea where to start. I had no idea. So I decided that I maybe would just start by doing what I love most, which was to make a song and dance about it. Actually, I'd already written a song, and I thought maybe the music video could work if it was about plastic pollution. So I got about it, and I started a crowdfunder to make a music video about plastic pollution, which I hoped would go viral and change the world. But it didn't. It's called Burden, and it's on YouTube, and please do go and check it out another time. It wasn't quite long enough to show it to you now. But actually, it didn't matter that the music video had failed to make a measurable impact, because actually, the music video was just the beginning. I took the momentum that I'd created from the crowdfunder, the individual supporters and the business supporters, and with that momentum, I founded my own organisation called City to Sea to stop plastic pollution at source. And around that time, I started going on beach cleans. Now, it wasn't until I joined in a beach clean here on the banks of our local river in Bristol, a tidal river, which at the time was the European green capital of Europe, that I actually began to grasp the scale of the problem and that it was something happening on my own doorstep. And apart from the swathes of plastic bottles we were collecting, and you can see them here, I mean swathes of them, it was these hundreds of tiny plastic sticks that were everywhere that caught my eye. They were cotton buds. And so when I went home, I did my research and I discovered that as a nation, we're flushing these things down the toilet in their millions. And being so small, they pass through the sewage filters and straight out into our rivers and seas, especially at times of heavy rainfall. And as I'm sure you're all very aware, rain is something we get quite a lot of here in England. So I'm going to come back to cotton buds later. But for now, I want to talk more about the third of us that are flushing things down the toilet. Because it seems we've come to believe in magic. In our bathrooms, there's this clever contraption that makes things disappear. Condoms that we don't want hanging around in the bin, tampon applicators that we have in our hand, and just can't reach the bin. Wait, who needs a bin? I've got this guzzling thing that makes everything vanish, and I don't even have to empty it myself. Yay! Boo. I'm sorry to burst our magic little bubble, but the toilet is not a bin. Most of our sewers were designed and built in the Victorian era, and we didn't even have toilet paper back then, let alone cotton buds and teeth flossers and all kinds of wipes. Bum wipes, vagina wipes, baby wipes, facial wipes, household cleaning wipes, and all other kinds of products which contain plastic and don't break down or biodegrade. And that's not even mentioning the crazy amount of menstrual products our Brits are flushing. That is me, by the way. In the UK, around 700,000 panty liners, 1.4 million pads, and 2.5 million tampons are flushed down our toilets every day. every day. Now, the average non-organic pad contains the same amount of plastic as 4 carrier bags. So you get the picture. And it's not just women and menstruators that are flushing things down the toilet. Studies have shown that men are more likely to flush condoms, cigarette butts, cotton buds, and plasters down the toilet. So this is something which affects all of us. And yet, we're all grown-ups, for the most part. We know that when the magician puts the rabbit in the hat, it doesn't really disappear. It just goes into a secret compartment on the magician's table. So why do we think that when we put plastic down the toilet, it does actually disappear? It doesn't. It can end up in our rivers and seas, breaking up into microplastics, accumulating chemicals, being eaten by plankton, and then fish, and then bigger fish, and then us. We're eating this stuff. So, back to cotton buds. It seemed that there had to be a way to stop them from getting into our rivers and seas. And I thought there were 2 paths that were available to me at the time. I thought I could either try and get people to stop flushing them down the toilet, or I could get the supermarkets to stop making them out of plastic and make them out of paper instead. Our paper still shouldn't be flush, but at least it would biodegrade if it was. I went for option 2, as 9 supermarket sustainability managers seemed like a much easier option than the entire population of the UK. So in September 2016, City2Sea launched its campaign, Switch the Stick, calling on retailers to switch from plastic to paper stem buds. I managed to secure funding from 3 forward-thinking water companies, and September last year, we launched our campaign with a film and a petition. Our online community was amazing. Within a month, we had 6,000 signatures, which was pretty good going for the fledgling organization we were at the time. And a month, around that time then, 38 Degrees got in touch and said, do we want to run our campaign on their petition platform? And we said yes, which was a fantastic idea and decision, as a month later, we had an extra 150,000 signatures on our petition. And that number of people really converted into some serious consumer power and pressure and a whole lot of capacity for mischief making. And we made plenty of mischief. We completely bombarded their social media channels with calls for them to switch the stick. We hijacked their beautifully curated Christmas marketing campaigns with thousands of messages, and it worked. Within a month from that time, all 9 UK retailers had pledged to switch the stick by the end of 2017. Yeah! They're hitting the shelves now, which is really exciting to see that. So that move is going to stop over 320 tons of non-recyclable single-use plastic from being produced at source every year. And again, it's brilliant. So you see, plastic pollution is a battle we can win. And not just in our bathrooms. We can question with every piece of single-use plastic we buy, do I really need this in the first place? And if each of us commits to making just a few small, simple changes in our lives, we can be part of the groundswell that is needed to turn the tide on plastic pollution. You can join the refill movement and carry a reusable bottle or coffee cup in public. Pulling out a metal straw from your bag. These things spread a really powerful message. I choose to reuse. So indeed, maybe we can make going to the toilet an act of devotion and care more for our rivers and seas and the precious life they support. And that includes all of us, by the way. So let's rethink. Bog standard. When you go to the loo, just flush pee, paper, and poo. The 3 Ps, right? It's easy. But, changing behaviors can be hard, and it can take some deep rewiring of the neural pathways to really embed a behavior change. So let's just take a moment together to really help bring that message home. Now, I have no idea if there are people up there. Are there people up there? Okay, good. I'm going to need you guys to be particularly loud. Okay, so everybody on this side of the room, you're all P. Okay? Have you got that? Everybody over here, you're all paper. Okay? You know what's coming. Everybody up there, you're all poo, right the way around there, okay? So when I point at you, I would like you to shout out your pee and your paper and your poo. This is a really scientifically proven way. It's not, actually. It's just a bit of fun. So when you go to the loo, just flush. Pee, paper, poo. That's good. You guys are good poos. Okay. We're going to do it a few more times just to really, bring it home. Don't litter the loo, just flush. Pee, paper, poo. Amazing. Bog standard, okay? The 3 Ps. When you go to the loo, just flush. Pee, paper, poo. Fantastic. Well done. That was rethinking. Yeah, you did really good there. So, rethink, redesign. Now, I'm assuming you all have access to a bathroom. So here's a radical idea. How about you get a bin in your bathroom? In fact, why don't you get 2 bins? One for your recycling and one for your disposables and mucky stuff that you might not want rubbing up against your shampoo bottle. In fact, actually, you don't need to buy shampoo bottles. You can get shampoo bars instead. Anyway, 2 bins in your bathroom. So rethink, redesign, and reuse. If you have periods or you parent a menstruator, then try switching to reusable products. A menstrual cup costs between £10 and £15 and can last up to 10 years. Washable pads and period panties are completely disrupting the period product marketplace and massively reducing the amount of plastic being sent to landfill or being flushed. I switched to reusable products a couple of years ago throughout my life. Look how happy it made me. You could be that happy too. I am actually really proud to be championing the rise of the reusable at home, at work, on the go. And through my work, we're inspiring thousands of others to do the same. And I really hope that each of you will join that number and begin cleaning out the single-use plastic from your lives and your bodies. And if you just do one thing, then share this film when you see it online. And let's be part of the movement to change the world, one flush at a time. And if you still don't feel inspired to do it for yourself, or for the children that will inherit this beautiful planet that we live on, then how about doing it for this little lady? How could you resist that? Thank you. Thank you.